Welcome to the Deal Champs podcast. I'm your co-host, Mr. Strat Daddy. We have the master of hair today. The hair's not out, but he's here today with the great shirt. And Captain America will get here whenever he gets here. We've been waiting on him for like 30 minutes. But he'll be here eventually. He's helping people.
That's right.
Can't wait up. We got shit to do. Today, we have some awesome topics we're going to cover. We're not going to be interviewing anybody. Real quick intro about myself. My name's Stratton Brown. I've scaled 2 different companies to 7 figures using virtual assistants. I own a 7-figure real estate portfolio. And right now I'm on a challenge to net $1 million in 6 months wholesaling houses. It's a grind. After this, I'll be live again with Steve Train.
Very impressive, dude. How many contracts you got so far right now?
Where'd that come from?
What?
There we go. Okay, my IG was like double streaming. Say that one more time, Jason. How many contracts?
I was like, it's very impressive at what you've been doing, dude. I've been following along with your lives. How many contracts so far?
We're at 11. I should have 12 today. I thought I was at 14, but I was off a little bit. Our lead flow's down today, though. I think we've only gotten like 1 lead so far, and so that's been a little bit harder. I went through one thing that is costly that you don't really think about. We're gonna have to drop out, call it 150 to 450 bucks for photos and inspections on every property,
on each one, dude. Yeah,
just to be able to like get it through.
At 10 contracts a week, that's $4,000, dude. It's not an insignificant amount of money, bro.
No, it's not an insignificant amount of money, and so that's one thing that I was like, oh shit, and that's $40,000 a year, and so right now we're negotiating with a bunch of different people on Thumbtack.
To try to get a little bit of a better rate,
just to get lower photos. Because I was like, you understand, and I was just talking to our sales admin, if we can get everything down $50, if we apply this to how many contracts we have to lock up over the span of time, that is going to save us so much money. Not just a little bit of money, but so much money.
When are we giving everybody an update, dude, on the pod, dude? What do you think? In a couple of weeks, bring everybody up to speed?
I mean, I'll give them an update every week. Right now, we don't have any rev. We have about 100K in like booked assignments, I guess, that we got to go out and assign.
Yeah.
But we don't have any rev yet. I've just been doing updates on my lives because I want to show them what it's like to actually build a business fast. I can with scale and the issues you run into. Like the Thumbtack thing. You wouldn't necessarily think that's an issue you're going to run into. Now you got to get creative. How can I eliminate this cost, essentially?
It's really good, dude. I get people hit me all the time. It's like, hey, can I shadow you? Hey, can you I want to see like a day in the life type of thing. And like what you're doing, rebuilding this from scratch is really pertinent to a new investor. It's like a new investor doesn't necessarily need to follow me around because all the stuff I do every day, if you're new, it doesn't make sense for you to do any of the shit that I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't, those two things don't line up. But for what you're doing, rebuilding this whole thing, that's basically like day in the life type stuff, dude. If you're new and you're getting started, what you're doing every day is what you would be doing as a typical day in the life of a new investor. So I think that's good.
And by the end of it, they'll see what it like a full-fledged company looks like at scale is the goal. Yeah. Like you see every step.
No, that's awesome, man. Yeah, it's good that you're opening that up. I'll give myself a quick intro and then let's jump into it while we're waiting for Dean, dude. For those of you guys that don't know me, my name's Jason Pritchard. Worked in corporate America for 15 years. And in 2014, I burned all the boats, went full-time into real estate investing, have not looked back since. We've been doing it almost 10 years. We've got 400 plus flips under our belt. We own a rental portfolio of just over 100 units. And our whole goal with this pod, with our social media, with all the value that we try to put out to you guys that are watching and paying attention is to try to transfer the things that we've learned over the years so you guys can skip past all the mistakes that we can make and you can take your learning curve and go like this. We want to speed the process up for everybody there. And this should be an interesting conversation we're going to have today, dude. It's related specifically to our market and prices that are out here. We get lots of people that ask about, does it make sense to invest in California? Can you do it with high interest rates? The tenant landlord laws, prices are going crazy out here. They're not coming down anytime soon. So this should be a good one. I'm excited.
But let's start off with that one. Was like the first house price in the state of California is $900,000. And our title was, should you invest in the state of California? My answer is, I think everyone's going to hate it, is it depends. Because I think you could do it. You just have to know the game that you're playing and what you need to have ready at your disposal if you are going to invest here. Because taking shots at Zuber, the time that Mike bought his portfolio in Fresno, California, compared to the time you are buying your portfolio in Fresno, California, are two completely different things, right? And so you need to be prepared for whatever you have going on.
Yeah, my answer to the question is yes. I think you can invest in California. I'm actively investing in California. We're not buying rentals at the pace that we did a few years ago, and I talk pretty openly about that. But I still think there's lots of viable deals. I just think the lens that you need to look through when you're evaluating rental deals, especially the lens as a newbie, needs to change a little bit because, and I'm sure we'll get into this today, man, but I can remember when I was dreaming about having 100 doors, I thought I would be riding off in the sunset, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I legitimately thought that I would not be working, and I took 100 rentals times $300 per rental, and I would legitimately have a $30,000 every month that was just coming in like clockwork. And I'll tell you that it does not work like that. And we manage all of our properties. So most of the people I know that own properties out here don't self-manage, and we self-manage. So we save 10% of our gross rents, and we keep that on our bottom line.
And markups, bro.
Yeah.
And on your markups, like all the shit that goes to that.
Yeah. And we manage our properties pretty well. We've got in-house staff that like handles our maintenance, that handles, filling our units. So it's not like we have outside management that's doing it, and we do a pretty damn good job of it. And it is just very, very difficult to hit the cash flow numbers because there's just always stuff that comes up. So I think you need to really change around the lens that you view things through. But I think it's very viable in California, and we'll get into it a little bit more. But you need to look at other benefits just besides cash flow, because this is not really where you're going to get cash flow out here.
Yeah. Shout out Pellegrino, baby. Shout out Pellegrino.
Hell yeah. The plastic bottle, but it is what it is. I got a bunch of people on my IG, and I know we've got some people logging into Facebook. This would be a great topic, especially for the California investors, for you guys to drop some questions. So if you've got questions, this is going to be like a free-flowing discussion between the three of us. So if you guys have questions about buying in California, buying rental properties in this state, the pros and cons, drop them in the chat and we'll answer them for you guys here.
And we'll buy creative deals in the state of California. I'm not really a single family rental guy, but like I'd buy apartments out here if you can get good cap rates and everything else, right? If it's a deal, it's a deal. I think just because I've become used to the environment, it doesn't scare me as much.
Yeah.
Single families, I'd say, scare me just because I don't like the economies of scale where and I don't know if you'd want to disclose this. How much would you say you do cash flow off of that much effort that goes into those rentals?
A couple $100, bro. I mean, that's it. I mean,
right?
when you break out all the expenses, the repairs over a longer period of time, I mean, if you're lucky, it's a couple $100, dude.
Yeah. And so that's why I was like, no, like, because we own a storage facility out here. I'm looking at another really big one out here, but I do apartments. I would do creative deals where we could do like Airbnb and stuff. Luckily, I have a partner, Kyle, who's really talented in that. And then like some wraps. But if it's just a regular single family house, I think you are better off getting returns somewhere else unless you're a professional and you want to play the appreciation game.
Yeah.
And then I'd tell you to buy in B class and above areas and kind of pull a Henry Washington and just say, I'm not buying for cash flow. I'm getting 12% appreciation a year and I'm getting all that depreciation. I'm happy with that. I don't need anything else. And if something happens, I'm not cash strapped and I can just invest back into the property. And honestly, it helps me on taxes anyways. But that's a completely different mindset.
It's different. And so let's start with the pros, dude. Because I think California gets poo-pooed on a lot when it comes to owning rental property. There's lots of really loud people on social media and even people that I know, like, and trust that say they won't invest in California. And so it's an important lesson for you guys that, just because it doesn't work or does work for somebody else, you need to make your own decision. And so that's what we hope we can help you guys do with something like this. So for me, the biggest benefits of owning property in California, one is appreciation. I mean, my net worth is quadrupled because of appreciation from the properties that I purchased starting in 2016, 17, 18. And I'm of the opinion, I'm very bullish on property values over the 10 or 20 year period in our market in Central California, right? I'm not talking about LA. I'm not talking about the Bay Area. I'm talking about where I personally invest. Fresno County, Central California, Stockton to Bakersfield, we are, from California standards, still the most affordable place to buy property in the state of California. It doesn't feel like that from people that were born and raised here. But fact of the matter is, I don't see prices out here going down anytime soon. If anything, I see that they're going to go up because of lots of different reasons. So even now, the stuff that you buy now, in 20 years, you're not going to be mad that you bought it. So if you're in it for the long game and you're in it to hold, I guarantee you the properties that you buy out here are going to be worth more 10, 20 years down the road. And so that's probably the biggest thing. And then depreciation, I would say, is number two.
And I was on a mastermind call today, and they're talking about how people are waiting for blood in the streets. And it really is, you just want to be in the game, taking at bats and getting on base as much as possible, and you're just dollar cost averaging over time into real estate. And if you keep buying the rentals and you keep buying good deals, when you look back over the last 30 years, you've gotten a great portfolio. You've gotten into some good interest rates. You've refinanced out all your bad interest rates, but you've still, maybe hit a home run here and there, but you can't just sit back and wait and say, hey, I want to essentially just go capture with blood in the market.
There is, and there's no going back. And you know what I used to do, dude, is I used to beat myself up all the time because I have buddies, we have mutual friends that started buying in 2008, 9, 10, or even before that, right? And they would tell me all these crazy stories about how they could buy properties for $10,000, $20,000 at auction, $30,000 at auction. And I would always beat myself up because I thought I was late to the game, dude. And that helped because it made me operate with a sense of urgency. But 2008 is not coming back, guys. 2015 is not coming back. That train has left the station and it isn't coming back. So what I'll tell you is I used to feel like, shit, dude, I missed this boat, but I'm glad that I bought all the stuff that I bought because all those houses that I paid $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 for, they're all worth $300,000 now. And I guarantee you when time passes, the houses you buy now will be worth more. So buy it, hang on to it. As long as you can make the numbers pencil and you don't need that cash right now, I think buying and holding in California is great from appreciation standpoint.
Should we let this shithead in after he made us wait for 45 minutes?
45 minutes. I don't know. Dean's in the waiting room. We see Dean standing in the waiting room right now. And he said he would have been ready 45 minutes ago. Me and Stratton were ready to go live at 2:30. You guys let us know in the comments if we should add Dean to this thing or just make him wait.
This dude decides to go to the best spa in the world and then thinks our time doesn't fucking matter. Like, he's like, hey, I'm at the best spa in the world. Stratton and Jason, you guys it's whatever. I got a coaching call I got to handle. Bro, that's bananas, Dino. That's honestly bananas. Let's check the comments and see if they even think you should be allowed on the call.
Fresh guidance in my IG said maybe. I don't know. Lilith said yes. Everybody else, let us know. We need a couple more positive confirmations for us to add Dean to this thing.
Before we're gonna let in this Mr. Perfect Captain America traveling Europe, living on no timeline, come into this freaking podcast. Shanae, if you're still on here.
Yes. We got
another yes.
I'm gonna let him in there. Yeah, I'm gonna let him. Here we go. We're bringing Dean on. There we go. There he is. Nope.
Oh man, I feel terrible.
What's up, dude? How's Switzerland?
Dude, I will tell you right now, this place has the #1 rated hotel. It's official. According to them, they said they have the #1 rated spa in the entire world. And it is, to me, no surprise. It's literally on top of this built into this top of the hill. Gorgeous panoramic views of just an insane lake and views of Switzerland. It's gorgeous. And the amenities, I have not seen better amenities. Literally everything from like cold plunge overlooking the lake, sauna overlooking the lake. They have the relaxation pools that you lay back in and massage and all that. Like, it's just, you can't take a step without someone wanting to like help you take the step. It's like one of those 5-star type of places where you feel uncomfortable because they're taking too good a care of you. You feel like, do I need to just hand you money? Like, what
should I be paying you for this?
Yeah. Insane, dude.
Good for you.
Have you been running any hills, bro?
I was walking some hills today with the kids. We went on. They have it all set up for kids and stuff too. They know what the hell they're doing. So they have like a kid zone where you can drop your kids off, which we don't drop our kids off with anybody. So they have this kid zone where they have all this play stuff, and then they have an actual treasure hunt adventure that goes all along the property, including some hiking trails. And dude, check this. They have a freaking world's tallest 40-floor glass elevator at the top of the mountain that takes you even higher than the mountain to overlook, literally, like you're looking down like God. It's just insane, the type of stuff they have here.
There you go. There's some
Must
love
be
right
nice.
there for you, dude. Yep. Jay Hernandez says that's what makes all the hard work worth it, my guys. That's true.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
What's the point of doing all this damn work, dude, if we can't go enjoy it? I think it's dope. Dean, for those of you guys that don't know, Dean is on a 30-day European vacation. This guy's jet setting all over Europe. He's got his whole family with him, got the kids with him, 30 days, still closing deals. I mean, we talk about it a lot, like dictating and creating a life and creating a business that supports the life that we want, not the other way around. And I think this is a really good example of you doing that, dude. I think it's awesome.
Dean, did
Thanks,
you bring
man.
any type of nanny?
No, so that was the original plan, actually. So we planned to bring one of our parents, one of the grandmas, right, or to bring our nanny that we have. But there was a couple kinks, so we ended up working it out. So the first half of the trip, first 10 days in London, we actually had my parents go with us. So that was nice to have time with family. We also got to see some of my family that lives in England, and then some additional help. But now we're on our own, dude, for the next 20 days. And, we'll make it happen. But having a nanny would have been nice to just like both go do like a couples massage at the same time. Like my wife, I surprised her with a massage today. She was there for 90 minutes. She got, the whole works. And I was in the kids' room, with all the kids playing and having fun with them. So, and then I went and did the spa after and just had a good time. So.
Hell yeah, bro. I love it. I'm glad you're having a good time. You came in as we were talking about, should you buy real estate in the state of California?
I love
Jason and I both said yes, but you need to go into it with like a different frame.
You do.
Depending on what you have going on.
The points you guys were making when I came in, I got excited, and I have something so relevant to tie into this because, dude, the problem that I think all of us have, including myself, when I got started with rentals, is having the wrong mindset. Okay, so should you buy in California? Well, it depends. Are we talking about flips or rentals? For flips, I think absolutely, because you're in a market where price points do get higher. There is a large amount of demand to own real estate in California. So there are buyers for your properties that you want to flip. And there are price points that create opportunities for large margins, right? If your entry level house is 800, 900,000 in San Diego, okay, where I don't buy real estate, then you might get a house for $400,000 because the deal, played out that way. And now you have a huge, massive spread. So there's opportunities to buy and to flip. As rentals in California, it's such an appreciating market, and why I love it so much. So I was just going through my spreadsheet. I keep saying almost 10 million, right? I've been saying it wrong all this time. I've been well over $10 million. I just haven't updated my damn spreadsheet in years. I just started doing this. This is too funny. I gotta give myself a hard time. I was just updating it 2 nights ago, and I text Lewis, my partner, and I was like, dude, I need to like get in there and update this thing because I just went through the first 8 properties on our list that we've been buying since 2018, and each and every single one had more than $100,000 additional equity. And like, what the heck, dude? Like, I'm already at $10.5 million, and I've only done 8 properties. You know what I mean? Like, wait till I get through the other, list there, and what's it going to be at then? So it's probably past 11 now, or maybe close to 12, but that's just appreciation right there in a couple of years. Literally a couple of years. And I can tell you right now, buying those properties a couple of years ago felt like I was paying too much.
Mm-hmm.
It genuinely felt like it. And what I tell myself now is, dude, just wait.
Just wait.
Wait
Yep.
10 years, wait 20 years. It's going to double, triple in value. Imagine what that is going to look and feel like then, just by waiting.
That's what we were talking
incredible.
about before you jumped in. Like, I had that FOMO a little bit because we missed the boat in 2008, 9, and 10. And it always felt like I was stretching a little bit. And now I don't regret anything. And so you guys that are on the fence and concerned about buying rentals because you feel like, oh, you missed the boat and it's a little bit too late, you've got to start flexing that muscle of learning how to get outside of your comfort zone and make yourself stretch a little bit. And once you do that a few times, you'll end up in the space like where Dean and I are at, where we've done it. We've seen the reward on the other end. So now it's easy for us to condition ourselves to pull the trigger now because we're confident in where we're going now, dude. And so you've got to start somewhere.
Dude, here's another point on that. Okay. I was in Hawaii last year with my family, and my best friend who lives there, he hooked us up with this one guy older guy, has his own personal boat with his own personal dock, with his own beachfront property. And he was doing like a personal tour, and he took us out to these islands that people love to go to. And we're going on there, and I'm just chatting with this guy because, I love to learn, like, how did this guy own a beachfront property? Well, he told me in like the 80s, he bought these 2 houses on one lot, beachfront, its own dock. And by the way, the Obamas literally just got done finished building their house and spent like $80 million building a compound, like a couple houses down. So that tells you the kind of area and the type of value. His houses that he bought for $180,000. And I was like, holy crap. I'm like, did it feel like a lot of money then? He said he was shaking in his boots when he was signing the loan docs. He saw it felt like so much money. Mm-hmm. He just subdivided the lots, just split the lots, and sold one of the houses for $3.5 million. Okay, it's not even a big house, and he's saying it's 180 grand felt like a lot back then. So, when it comes to your investing, you can't be short-sighted. You got to realize what type of asset you're buying, where you're buying it. And if it's in an appreciating market, then you should be willing to wait.
But real quick, and so Jason talked about this. I know me and Kyle don't cash flow off of our couple rentals. Do you even count on cash flow from your rentals? Do they cash flow? And how do you look at it? Because for me, I think real estate is all appreciation and depreciation, because you never know what's going to happen with people. So you might as well leave the money in the account because something bad is going to happen.
Yeah, I personally love this topic. Looking at my spreadsheet right now, as I'm looking at it, it says that I have revenue of just under $70,000 a month, right? And my principal and interest that I pay, this isn't including taxes or not or anything, but principal and interest is right around 30. So I should be making tons of money every single month, right? And again, that was not including taxes and insurance. So let's say it's about 40. So I should be netting 30K according to the spreadsheet, but that's just not reality. The reality is that we might net 5, 10, 15 some months, but then there's other months that, and by the way, those months that we net that, it's because there were expenses that came up. And then the other months where we might not net that is because we're either buying another property and updating and remodeling it, or an AC went out, or a tenant moved out. And so to rely on cash flow, I was just literally on the call before this telling someone that, like, if you buy a rental that's going to cash flow a couple $100, it's not going to change your life. You need to be generating income consistently to feed you buying these rentals, and then to have reserves for these rentals, because the reality is that there's expenses, and you might get lucky and not have any expenses for a while, but that the day will come where you will. And so I don't rely on cash flow. We don't pay ourselves anything from the cash flow from them. We just let that bank account grow. I like to have we usually have about 150 grand in the bank of reserves just sitting there, so that we have money for things that came up in the month, or hey, we just bought a new rental. Great. Let's use that money for remodeling the property, or we already used private money to cover that cost anyways, So it usually stays around that. It grows a little bit, and then it might go down for, we just bought a rental for cash, $60K, a little condo that's going to cash flow $800. And, so yeah, we don't like to count on any of that money.
Do we transition and talk about why we don't think you should really buy rentals, like for the new entrepreneurs? I know was that a subject line?
I think I think this is a big one that we've touched on it briefly, but I think we should expand on it, is the value of depreciation. When I was buying rentals at the beginning, depreciation was not on my mind. I mean, I had a baseline understanding of what it was, but I wasn't thinking when I was loading up on all the rentals that I bought from like 2016 to 2019 that I was going to get the tax benefits that I'm getting now. And honestly, that is creating more income in the way of my tax savings than anything close to what I get from the cash flow in it. I'm getting to keep more money. For those of you guys that are new to real estate, don't understand what depreciation is, it allows us to offset. We can take all the rental properties that we own, we can depreciate the value from those properties, and that money, that depreciation, we can offset the income that we make on the earned income side. This can be from your W-2 income. This can be from your fixing and flipping business. It can be from whatever active income sources that you have. And in this business, lots of people like to talk about top line revenue. Lots of people talk about net profits, but not many people talk about net profit after taxes and what you actually keep. And that's the number, dude, that really matters. And I think when you've been in business for a long time and you've matured, you start paying a lot more closer attention to that than some of these other vanity metrics that are there, dude. So depreciation for sure is huge. That's a huge thing, especially if you've got a lot of active income.
Yeah, no, I want to bring one question back from IG from Joe Daniel. He says, what's a good rental formula we can use right now to lock those deals up? Or did I miss it?
I would say when we're buying ours, Joe, this is for us here in California. I want to be all in Central California for 70% or less of what the house is going to appraise for once we've bought it, rehabbed it, and rented it out. So what I buy the house for, what my total rehab and holding costs are, all of that number added up needs to be 70% or less of what I think the house is going to appraise for. And I'd love to see $300 to $500 per month of positive cash flow after accounting for everything, not just principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, but vacancies, repairs, maintenance, all of that stuff. So if I can check those two boxes, I know that I can burr that property and not have to leave a lot of cash in there. And it should pay for itself while there's a tenant in there paying. And so those would be the two metrics that I would look at if I were you. That was a good question.
We don't burr. For our creative stuff, I want to get my entry fee back immediately or within the first year, right? And so, like, let's say if it cost me $25,000 to get into the house, I need to recoup that immediately or within the first year off of cash flow. And then we're looking at least $500 a month in cash flow once everything's said and done. This is like on our creative deals, because I don't think I'll ever really burr, because I like the cash flow of like having notes. That's what we look at. Because the reason Jason goes 70% is because he can pull his money out and it's an infinite return. That's what gets really, really sexy about real estate. Because when you pull all your cash out and then it still shoots off some money and you get the debt pay down and you get the depreciation, now it gets really exciting. But then when you have money locked in forever, that's not quite as fun.
Now I want to bring up Shanae's question, and this is a good segue from the question that Joey asked. So what would be better, flipping or buying and holding in California? And the only way in my opinion, that you're able to consistently find deals that you can buy, rehab, and rent out and be all in for less than 70% of what it's going to be worth is if you create a business that is constantly sourcing good deals. So you are going to either be wholesaling, flipping, wholetailing, or a combination of all three. And we talk about this all the time. We create a business that just generates lots of deal flow. We cherry pick the very best deals that we can. And everything else we send out the other side of the assembly line and we sell, right? So Shanae's question is, what would be better? I think you got to do both. I don't think you can just do one. You've got to have some type of active income source.
Yeah. I would add wholesaling to that list too. I mean, you got to do all three. And to me, it's not about what should you do. It's what does the deal allow you to do?
Yeah.
Right. And then the secondary to that is once you realize what the deal allows you to do is what's best for you and your business at that time. Do I need cash in my business? Right. For a lot of us starting out, I needed cash in my business for a long time. And I didn't get it figured out until I started wholesaling more and flipping less because flipping was so cash intensive. The cash conversion cycle from the day I bought it to remodeling it, to listing it, to getting it sold took so long that to have cash in my bank account was really not a thing for so many years. And it's not until I flipped it on wholesaling to where the cash just started increasing. And I felt like there was more opportunities to choose what was best for the business.
Yep. Yeah. Having cash in your account, having deal flows makes it easier to forego making a humongous rip on a deal that you could wholesale or flip. It makes it easy because you have to learn how to delay gratification to really buy rentals at scale because you're opting not to take a monster rip on a deal. We always talk about our rentals are our best deals, which means we're saying we're going to leave 75, 80, 100 grand on the table from a assignment fee or fixing and flipping or wholetailing. And it's way easier to do that if you've got a pipeline full of deals that you know are going to come in and pay your bills while you're doing it, right? If you only have something here and there, at the beginning, like you said, we need more cash in our business. And that's a thing that I think we underestimate at the beginning. I know I did. I was buying rentals very aggressively and I probably should have been in a better cash position than I was.
I mean, but you went for it and mad respect for it because you just went balls to the wall for 2 years, bro.
It did. And that's what usually happens, dude. Yeah.
We want to buy houses. We're just here to buy houses. Okay, you have a house for sale? I'll buy it.
Fuck it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, dude. And sometimes like having laser focus like that will pay off, but I guarantee you, I had deals that I know for sure I should not have kept that I ended up either losing money on over the long term because of other things. You know what I'm saying? And so again, we talk about everybody learning from our mistakes. So don't try to force things that aren't there, guys. That's true.
But I'll use an example. Dylan reached out to me the other day saying he wanted to buy a bunch of rentals. He told me the amount of revenue that they were going to do. And then he was like, we'll do this much revenue. I'll split it with my partner. And it was 6 figures. And I was like, awesome. But the last thing you should be thinking about is buying rentals. Like he's like, bro, I want to start buying rentals and playing that game. I was like, bro, we shouldn't buy rentals until we have fucking oodles of money coming in and we need like tax benefits because the rentals are going to be a distraction. It's a whole nother business. It's going to suck cash from you. It's going to suck out attention to where if you just get good at making the cash register ring, then when we built out infrastructure, then we can add on rentals. But I think people underestimate how it's another lift, bro. Like you have to get good at another skill. You have to lift up that skill and then build it all out to where I wish I would. When me and Kyle started buying ours, like we went like down this sub 2 rabbit hole. Like, bro, if I would have just like wholesaled some stuff, fuck it, bro. The money we get a month would be nothing if we would have done 4 extra deals that year. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nothing. And so that's why I think if you're just getting going, like let's get a real tax problem. Like, let's get some real money coming in. Like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is scary. I got to pay the man this.
Yeah.
Then let's buy some rentals. But I don't think you should just be buying them just to buy them because you want to, unless you're a Zuber maximist, you know?
Dude, the other thing that I'll say, this is other advice that I've learned the hard way. You shouldn't be owning rental properties with random people. Like, you shouldn't be owning a one-off rental with this person and then another 2 with this person and then you've got a bunch. Like if you're going to partner with somebody, you have to make sure that you're in it for the long haul with that person. And you probably should do a lot of shorter term deals with that person to see how your working relationship, actually the synergy between you two guys or two people, before you commit to owning something long term, dude. Because I made the mistake of doing that at the beginning, and it's people that I still have good relationships with now, but it doesn't really make sense when you're making $200 a month and then you've got to stroke a check or you got to write a big payment because this goes wrong. Hard. And then you've got, dude, it is, dude. And it's just not an ideal scenario to own it with a random person here, random person there. Like, just buy them and start building them yourself, or know the partnership that you're going to be in has got a lot of runway with it.
That's really interesting, because I think a lot of people that I've had conversations with where they want to work a deal together will bring up, hey, would you want to buy it as a rental with me? And to me, that's an interesting way to think about it. I get the idea and the allure of owning more real estate, literally owning. Your name is on it. I own it. I own rentals. There's something sexy about that, but the reality is it's a different game, and it is a long-term game. And there is moments where you got to stroke checks, unless you got a screaming deal and you get lucky. So, and that's tough. You got to evaluate that relationship and understand if that person is in the position to write that check with you, or if you're in the position to write that check.
I've got an interesting question for you guys on my IG. This is from JP. He said, would you rather buy your first property as a live-in flip, let's say a 2 to 5 year hold, or use that capital to start flipping and wholesaling? So would you buy an owner-occupied property, sit on it, let it appreciate, and then turn around and sell it and take that money, or take the money from that down payment and invest it into flipping and wholesaling? What are your guys'
It depends on what type of business owner and operator you are. I think
yeah.
All three of us know how to get great returns on capital.
Yeah.
Like, we know how to invest money and pull out more money and then keep making more money. If you don't necessarily have that skill or have the faith that you can develop that skill, I would tell you a live and flip is fine. Like, lots of people have W-2 jobs. Yeah. They do a live and flip. They get like $100K pop. They don't want to necessarily go balls to the wall, because if you use that other money is not going to give you a return for a year and a half, 2 years. And you don't see necessarily the monetary return, but you have all the skills that you need now to continually make money over time. And it's, do you want to make that investment of something that you will not get a monetary return immediately?
Yeah.
And is that even the lifestyle you want? You know, like, bro, we're all on the phone all day. Like, after this, we will be on the phone more, and then I'll wake up and I'll be on the phone, and then before I go to bed, I'm going to be on the phone. Is that the lifestyle you want?
Yeah, you got to know what you're signing up for, JP. That's 100% right, because it isn't as easy as just turning the faucet on and starting a fixing and flipping business. You have to be prepared for what you're signing up for. So if you know what you're going to get into and the amount of grind that you're going to get into, and that you may work for a year and not make any money, and are you okay with dealing with that right now? And can you deal with the mental roller coaster that's going to be? Then on the backside of that, then the payoff is great. But if you're not ready to commit to that level of work and put in that effort at the beginning, then there's better things. There's worse things that you can do than buy an owner-occupied house and live in it and let the appreciation kind of run its course, and then sell and then go from there. So it depends on you.
Where are you at, Dean?
This is an interesting one. Here's my 2 cents. Okay, and this is not everybody's cup of tea or the way that they want to run their life. For me, I personally don't think buying your own house should be used as an investment, even though it can work out really well that way. But if you're banking on buying your house strictly as an investment, there is so much volatility that could happen within a 2 to 5 year period, that if that is, you're pushing all your chips in and this is my investment, and it doesn't work out by you literally just sitting on it, and you can pretty much only just sit on it because you're living there. I mean, I guess you could do some repairs to it and live on one side of the house.
You'd have to buy it. So good.
You almost would have had to have gotten it off market, or You just caught it at the perfect timing. Good for you. You got super lucky. The market just shot up really high. But to appreciate, like we've seen it in the past couple of years, is pretty rare. So to count on it going up and shooting up in the next 2 to 5 years, if the question is based on like right now, what should I do? I don't like that. If you've got some sort of money that you could put as a down payment, I would significantly, personally, much rather learn the skills to invest that money to find deals. And if I can find deals, then that's what's going to be that generates money and gives me opportunity to generate more income.
Oh yeah. I think the big thing is most people don't understand the amount of work that goes into finding good deals, because you could buy a live and flip, but if you buy it wrong, you're never getting out of it.
No, I know. Yeah. And that's like, you pushed it all in on that one house, you know, like that freaks me out personally.
All right. Well, we got some other subject for us today. Do we have any more comments in the IGs?
No other questions right now.
All right. Jason, what skills are you actively working on right now? Dino, I'm gonna mute you. We got some people in the spot going hard. Oh, I muted him already.
People at 1240 in the freaking hallways over
here. Jason, what skill are you working on right now? How will it give you a return in your business? And how did you identify that you were lacking it?
I don't think that this was a skill that I was lacking, but it's a skill that I'm focusing on developing the most, is my leadership ability. Our company has grown a lot. You guys, we've had personal conversations individually and the three of us together on how much my team has grown and changed over the last 24 months. I went from a 3-person operation to 12 people literally in 2 years, dude. And so it wasn't overnight, but a lot of puzzle pieces came together very quickly. And the dynamic of running a small team where you're bootstrapping everything and you're still involved in a lot of aspects to the business, to being in a position where I'm really kind of out of the day-to-day, which is nice. And it's kind of the dream that we all get to. And there's not any bottlenecks that are tied back to me, but learning how to train and to develop people is probably the biggest thing. So I'm rereading a book right now. This book right here, Principles by Ray Dalio.
Culture book.
Really great book for culture. And there's a section, I'm not rereading this entire book, but there's a section on work principles that is pretty freaking amazing, dude. Like high level stuff, but he does a really good job of like breaking it down in a way that's, I'm not a layperson, but it's easy to understand, it's easy to digest, and it's easy to apply towards my team. And so I'm focusing on that right now. And I want to figure out how I can reprogram some of my limiting beliefs, because I look back and be like, man, I could have made some of these changes a long time ago. Now, how do I go from 10 people to wherever I need to go next? And what do I need to do that? And for me, it's really working on my leadership.
How did you know you needed to work on it?
The biggest thing that I needed to learn was delegation of everything and letting go of some of the big pieces. And the hardest thing that was in my business that I needed to let go was the acquisitions piece. And it's because I had been doing it for so long. I had some false starts in that position before. It's the piece that really moves the needle the most, in my opinion, for our type of business. And when you're sending somebody out there and they don't close an opportunity, I mean, you literally are leaving 30, 40, 50, $100,000 on the table sometimes if those opportunities don't convert, right? And so I spent a long time in that space second guessing whether I should do it, whether I should not do it. And I could have let this go a long time ago. And so other areas of my business that I don't really enjoy doing or that I'm not great at, those are the things like project management, accounting, that stuff. I've been able to let go of that a long time ago. But this piece was one that I held on. And I just want to become better at delegating. And what you really need to focus on at the level that I'm at, here's what I'm learning, is when I delegate something to Scott, for example, right? We talk about this a lot. Like, it's one thing to transfer a skill set to another person and get those skills to stick. Are you a good enough leader, and can you develop talent enough in a way where you can transfer to that person, and then that person can transfer it to somebody else and get those same skills to transfer over and then get that to stick? And then can he transfer it to a group of people, right? So one-to-one is one thing, but then transferring it from one to many is a different thing. You know what I'm saying? And so how do you do that, right? And how do you train them in a way to do that? And how do you give them those skill sets? And that's not an easy thing to do, dude. So that's what I'm focused on right now, man.
What about you, Dino?
I'm probably going to give an uninteresting, same type of answer that leadership at this point in the business is arguably one of the number one things. I'm gonna switch it up and just give a different answer though, so it doesn't sound the same. But I think the skill set is staying focused on fewer things and saying no to more things. One of the things I find myself wanting to do is say yes to everything and wanting to take on new projects that I know are good projects and that I know will make a difference, but it is significantly hard to stay focused on just a few and see it through to the end. And I think most entrepreneurs struggle with this because once we we're out of the matrix and we put on the rose-colored glasses and we see all the opportunity that's available, we're just like, holy crap. Like, dude, I am literally in arguably one of the nicest places in the world right now. I know the background doesn't look like it and Stratton's giving me a hard time, but if it was the daytime and not 12:47 a.m. and you could see outside the windows, I would show you the view from my window or from every other window in this freaking resort, that there is opportunity everywhere and abundance everywhere. And so it's really freaking hard as an entrepreneur to say, I'm just going to stay focused right here when you see all this opportunity everywhere else. So I'd say that's one of the things that I'm always struggling with and need to get better at. And if I do, and when I do get more focused, I know that the opportunities will actually be even greater, because when I hone in on the things that are giving me the best opportunity now and give it the time that it needs, those will blossom and grow the way that they need to. So I think that's something that I need to hear from myself and say it out loud, and we probably all need to hear as well.
How did you know?
When you just start looking at the list that you write on a notepad right next to your computer on your desk, and you're writing another new set of things that you need to do the next day, and it's not the same list, and you didn't complete the ones from the day before, and they just keep stacking and stacking, and you're like, dude, when am I gonna just get done the things that I need to get done? And I think if just from the mastermind that I'm in, and having conversations with people at Deal Champ Summit and other things like that, it's just, there's extreme power in saying no, and there's extreme power in being super laser focused. It allows you to be just that much more effective and accomplish more of what you're set out to accomplish in the first place. So I'm literally just like self-reflecting out loud right now on having a moment to myself of like, this is what I need to be doing. I know what I need to be doing, and I need to be doing more of it and more intentional about it. And when I do, then the results that I'm seeking will happen.
You're muted, Jason.
Do you have a hard time saying no to people, Dean?
I really, really do. I really, really do, because I don't like to let people down. Yeah. I like to be a team player. I like to be the guy who can do it all. And so it feels really terrible. Just to give like a very specific example, someone brings a potential deal opportunity across my desk, and hey, what do you want to do this deal, or do you want to? I don't want to say no. It's hard to say no. No, I don't want to do that deal. No, I don't like that deal. And then you end up spending time on it and wasting your time when you shouldn't be, and you're evaluating it. And it's like, you should have just said, no, that's outside of my buy box. I don't do those type of deals. That deal won't work.
Yeah.
So
I have a really hard time saying no to people, dude. Like I struggle with that a lot, and it makes it hard. It makes it hard for me to, you get to a point where it's not even just the things in your business start piling up, but what more importantly, it's usually like stuff in your personal life, dude. All the stuff, all the commitments that we make to our family and our friends, right? And you start thinking, like, is this really kind of the life that I want to live? You know what I'm saying? And is this what I want to do? Like working every single day for 14 hours a day. And like, you have to grind for periods in your life, but we didn't set this up 10 years later to be grinding our face off like this now, dude. So yeah, saying no is hard, man. It's a difficult thing.
Joe said, faithful in a few turns us into ruler over many. I haven't heard that one before, but it's pretty good.
I like it. For me, I would say it's my ability to learn something and implement it fast. Is like one thing I'm like an active skill I'm working on, to where I can get better at learning these 5 things. We get those 5 things implemented immediately. And so I can just keep learning and reiterating faster so I can create better, faster growth. And it has to do a lot with like my team members and leadership too, because I feel like I learned so much, but then you don't implement it immediately, and then it kind of falls to the wayside.
Yeah.
Right. But if I learn it, implement it, right? You read a paragraph of principles. Awesome. You call your 3 people who need to learn this. Great. Let's get this into place. All right. Next thing. Right. And it's those little things of a percentage point a day, 2 percentage points a day that really like exponentially grow you as an entrepreneur and exponentially grow your business. To where for me, it's just implementing all of these things really, really fast so I can get the desired growth rate that I want, is one thing I'm actively working on. And then focus, you guys know, for me is fucking huge. Staying focused. And then leadership, I think, is the secret thing that nobody talks about, to where once you get past a certain amount of revenue, nothing else matters besides your ability to lead and motivate others and like actually lead a quality team.
I'm surprised that you struggle with implementing things fast. I feel like we're all conditioned to pull the trigger quickly and just go and figure it out.
I think I can do it faster. Like it's not going. It is detail-oriented learning and problem solving and implementation, right?
Like
because
the execution of it, not the decision of doing
like
it, but
a little bit
getting
more on the execution side, to where like I need to follow it through a little bit more. Because like for me, it's not like the initial action taking. It's okay, let's just at least get this to the finish line or pass it off to the person who's going to execute on this and make sure it gets followed through with, so you can get that desired 1 percentage point that you're actually going for.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you read principles and let's just say you implement 2 things every day, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's going to add up so much when it comes to company culture, like actually creating a meritocracy and all that. And we kind of just like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, but we don't actually go and implement it and take action that same day. There's lots of little ideas that we have as entrepreneurs, but we don't necessarily throw them all in the fire. So yeah, that's what mine would be.
Yeah.
What else? Oh,
I feel that one.
Jason, what's your biggest issue this week?
My biggest issue this week?
What's your biggest issue this week?
What is my biggest issue this week? We're actually having a really, really good week. We're going to have $160,000 in rev come in this week. We have a few.
What's the big issue you need to solve to help you get to the next level? Like not just like a nominal issue, because your job as the CEO is to solve now 20 problems a year instead of.
Here's the issue that we're dealing with. Here's the issue. Actually, this is good. So here's the issue that we're dealing. We're getting beat out on deals, and we're still trying to solve the puzzle. We're very, very conservative in how we run our numbers. And I've just reached this point where our initial underwriting creates a baseline, but we got to be prepared to come outside of whatever the spreadsheet says if and when the deal dictates it, right? And we've always closed on lots of properties, and that's working right now, but I don't want to rely on closing on everything and wholetailing, because, that can change very quickly and I don't want to do it. So our problem that we're trying to solve is getting better margins and finding buyers that we can assign to that will pay a little bit more of a premium than your typical fixer and flipper. And have not made the commitment to do something like Investor Lift. We're actually doing a demo of a tool that Matt Larson sent out last week on a Bakersfield deal that we just locked up that we're going to test out this week. So I'll report back next week. But the problem we're solving right now is being comfortable locking up deals at a higher price, still being able to sign them and hit our potential profit margin. And how do we
Hell
do
yeah.
it?
Great problem.
Yeah, it is. It's a good problem to have.
What about you, Dino?
That is a tricky one, Jason. I think knowing if you can push your numbers outside of where you're like, for sure it's a deal. We've teetered on that ourselves before too. And at times we just kind of gone with a gut feeling where it's like, all right, let's look at this from a 10,000 foot view. Is this in a good area? Is this a desirable area? Is this a desirable type of project? Would someone maybe stretch their numbers on it? Would maybe someone see the value a little bit greater on it? Would someone maybe be able to do it for a little bit less? And so it's those really tight ones where we kind of like do a huddle. One of our sales guys will call myself and Lewis and be like, all right, guys, it's outside of us making 20K. The numbers have been squeezed. Can we get tighter on this one? Are we willing to make 10? Do we think a buyer will pay 10 more? What can we do on this? And I think if you implement something where you just, all right, we're not too far off, but we need to really push this right now and we need Jason's eyes on it, or we need someone else that can make a little bit more of a informed, confident, professional, experienced decision. Then that's implemented. Because we were in the same position where we were losing some deals and the guys were getting frustrated, like, oh man, we missed this one to, ABC home buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, oh man, this is bullshit. Like we know we should be getting these deals. We know we have X, Y, or Z, competitive advantage, or, we'll take better care of the seller or whatever it is. Right. So we started kind of implementing that type of approach.
I like that. Yeah. I'm trying to balance detaching myself and giving, let's say, Scott, for example, the freedom and a long enough leash to make those decisions, right? And not constantly insert myself, but there are still things where I need to either insert myself or leave the door open for them to come back and get the final green light. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that push and pull where we were kind of the same way. Like, guys, this is the buy box. Quit pushing these numbers. This is the deal. And then it came back to a middle ground where it was like, all right, but if it's like this and we know it's not a hard deal, like we need to talk about it. We can't be missing out on 10, 15 grand when there's a deal just right there for the taking,
Yep.
So, I think our problem is right now that just happened on our sales call last Wednesday was realizing that we're letting deals flip through that shouldn't. And it's just a testament that like we're putting quality deals in front of our sales guys and they're closing deals regularly and doing a good job. But we just got to continue to sharpen our tools and be that much better, because it still blows my mind how I'll listen to some of these calls and we'll consistently get good deals, but then I'll listen to a call and it's like, why are we sounding like this? Why did we not go in for the close when this person was clearly ready for you to close them? Why did we not ask these questions that are on the script? And the script, by the way, is the same script from the last call and the last call and the last call. Like, why did we not go through all of these conversation topics and cover all the points? Like, why did we not do it? So that's one of our areas where we could dramatically increase. And I think what happens to a lot of people, and to apply this back to people listening, is you can't assume that a seller doesn't want to sell based on the beginning of the conversation or some of their responses. You have to go through the script. Yes. Just thinking about this call specifically, the seller was a little reserved. They weren't really forthcoming with everything. But if you really listen back to it, the benefit of listening back to your calls, you realize like, oh, wow, they actually were willing and able to sell. And when we actually realized the outcome, that they sold it to someone else, that they were willing and able to sell. And we didn't close it on that same day that we should have when we had the call. That was a learning lesson of like, guys, you have to treat every person like they're willing and able to sell and take it through the start to the finish. And if you don't, then you're just gonna let deals slip. So we're getting better at it for sure. I think a natural thing for sales guys taking calls is they want to start working on the easy deals, the ones that are layups and slam dunks, not the ones that are the difficult to see through to the end, and you got to really work. So I think that's an important lesson that we're paying attention to, and I'm seeing from call to call, from sales training to sales training call, that we are improving. And for that, I'm excited about, but it's something we definitely have to fix.
All right. Did we have one more topic? I got a hard out. I got to go. I need to get better at comping houses in shitty areas, and confidently making offers, I'd say, is like our number one thing. Because when you're looking in like 6 different cities in a day, I need to be able to make a confident decision to make an offer and know that we're going to make money on it instead of losing out on $400 on an inspection. That's the one thing I need to work on better.
Yeah.
But I got to dip. See you guys. And I'll let you guys continue on.
Yep.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yep. Anything else, bro?
No, man. I say we can wrap it here. Let me check the IG, see if there's any last comments. No last comments. So yeah, I think good topics today. I appreciate you guys being patient with me. Feel bad for taking long there. Had a call go super long. But dude, some of these topics, if you listen back to it, there's a lot of wisdom that's gone into them just from our experiences. And for me, man, if you can pay attention to some of that stuff, it's going to help save you a lot of heartache and just get you focused on some of the right stuff.
Yeah, definitely, dude. We appreciate you guys. We're getting a lot of love in my IG chat. Sam said, great convo. We thank you guys for coming in, sticking with us, dude. We love the engagement. If you guys need anything from us, feel free to reach out on social. We'll see you guys next Tuesday, 2:30 PST. Have a great day, guys.
See you guys. Peace.